No, of course it's not. 860-522-9842. Mary, is this Mary Fay?
Yes, it is.
What's going on?
Hey, Tom, it's great to be back again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A few things. I think you referenced West Hartford quite a bit. That display has been quite the topic of controversy over the years. And the splitting off and development of the Connecticut party. So, you learn in life there's his story, her story, and the truth. So, I mean, no disparagement. I'm not much swinging, but I think it's only fair that the voters really know what the deal is with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's a new day, Mary. But what do you feel about the display itself, the Halloween display?
Well, I think it's always thought-provoking, and I certainly embrace freedom of speech, the First Amendment. So it's interesting and thought-provoking, but I think it's always one-sided. It's always the liberal case. And, the FBI has weighed in and others that it wasn't an insurrection. I mean, no government was taken over.
Right. Yeah. You don't go without guns to an insurrection.
Right. So it's unfortunate. I didn't like seeing that. That's sacred ground, and nobody should be attacking any part of our government. Most of us are doing this for the right reasons, and I didn't like it, but it certainly wasn't a coup or a takeover. And I don't know that we've gotten to the bottom of exactly who these people are that did this. I don't know. I don't know if they're all Trump supporters. I don't know if there's others. I don't know who was involved.
Right, and not to be conspiratorial, but I don't know who was a Fed and who wasn't as well. And if you look at in Michigan, when these guys went in there with guns, there were federal agents who were stirring them up and saying, "Let's go in with guns, etc." It doesn't forgive the riot at the Capitol or whatever. But still, if there were other influences, I would like to know. I'm just astounded, mostly, Mary, about how there wasn't more security. If you go as a visitor to the Capitol and you walk away from your docent for 5 seconds, somebody's on you. I don't know how this was ever allowed to happen. That is ridiculous.
It absolutely is. In fact, I was in Washington, D.C. with my daughter and my family 2 summers ago, and that place was so locked up. You couldn't bring in a purse. You couldn't bring in water, transparent water bottle, nothing. And we had, I would say 5 check-in points before you even got near the gate. So I don't know how this happened. There's a bunch of, I don't like to play into the rumor mill, but supposedly, more security was offered. The mayor of D.C. turned it down. The guard was willing to go in. I don't know, but it's, from what I understand, that the protest was very, very peaceful before it got to the actual Capitol.
Right, yeah, the protest down at the other side of the mall was fine.
Right, completely.
But
so I wasn't there. I have no idea, but, by all accounts, and the fact that an investigation's already been done and pretty much said, there wasn't an insurrection. It was a mass disaster, but
right.
That's not what it was.
With the Halloween displays like this, Mary, and what I've seen, there's one near me where somebody has a skeleton out there, and it says, you should have gotten the COVID shot, and there's a gravestone of somebody who died because they didn't get the vaccine. These are people essentially who need therapy, who are acting out and using these displays to vent. Do you think there's a time when we're going to just cool down and be America again?
I am yearning for those days. It goes way back. So full disclosure, I was a Democrat. I was a Democrat for a large part of my life, but I registered to vote in, 1979. And it was a much more different time where the parties were mostly in the middle,
right.
with differences, with just philosophical differences. The Republicans stand for smaller government, more self-empowerment, more people
right.
getting a leg up and then being self-sufficient. The Democrats have a different philosophy, but they work together. This chasm happened. I mean, I grew up in a split household. My dad and the Fay family are staunch Republicans. My mom, the Whalen family, are staunch Bostonian Democrats. And we heard the discourse, but they were married for 60 years. So, there obviously wasn't, and as a result, there's 4 kids in my family. We're all different. And, I made the switch because the left it was just too left. It was just too much, and I couldn't relate, and they couldn't relate to me. And I just said, in Connecticut alone, the fiscal disaster brought on by Democrat, tax and spend, I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So
I think between that in Connecticut and also nationally, I think the Carter administration turned a lot of people into looking for an alternative. Mary, thank you so much.
All right.
Talk to you later.
You're very welcome. And it's always a pleasure to talk with you, Tom.
Thank you.
Keep doing the good work.
Thank you. You too. Mary Fay in West Hartford. You guys know her.